In relationships, the delicate balance between attention and respect often dictates the dynamics of attraction. Women, like all of us, have a deep psychological need for validation. It's an inherent part of their emotional landscape. This desire for acknowledgement, however, can sometimes become a double-edged sword. When men offer too much validation, often unintentionally, it creates a power shift that can tip the scale in ways they may not expect. In this video, we will explore the emotional drivers that shape these dynamics, how excessive validation can inadvertently erode respect and attraction, and how simple shifts in behavior, such as pulling back or even ignoring, can reset the power and rekindle the connection. A key aspect of these emotional dynamics is validation, a deep-seated psychological need, especially in women, that often affects their emotional balance and how they perceive relationships. This need stems from a desire to feel valued, seen, and appreciated by those they hold dear. In relationships, validation becomes a cornerstone of emotional connection, but it also requires careful balance to maintain respect and attraction. Feeling validated reassures a woman of her worth in the relationship and fosters emotional security. For instance, when she shares her thoughts, dreams, or concerns, simply acknowledging her perspective or affirming her feelings can strengthen the bond. It's not about agreeing with everything she says, but showing her that her emotions and experiences are valued. This sense of validation helps her feel supported, creating a safe space for vulnerability in deeper intimacy. However, the dynamics of validation are delicate. Many men unintentionally overvalidate, showering their partners with constant attention and approval to please or maintain harmony. While the intention might be positive, overvalidating can lead to unintended consequences. It may create an imbalance in the relationship, where the man sacrifices his sense of individuality or self-respect to fulfill what he perceives as her emotional needs. Paradoxically, this can diminish attraction, as women often value partners who maintain a sense of independence and self-assuredness. For example, if a man constantly seeks to validate every aspect of her life, agreeing unconditionally, overpraising, or consistently placing her needs above his own, he may unknowingly project an image of insecurity. This behavior can undermine the mutual respect required for a healthy relationship. While desiring validation, women are also drawn to partners who display confidence, authenticity, and a balanced approach to emotional connection. The key lies in providing thoughtful and meaningful validation without compromising one's values or boundaries. When a woman seeks affirmation, it's an opportunity to engage with her feelings genuinely. Acknowledge her emotions, but also bring your perspective into the conversation. This demonstrates respect for her needs and reinforces the dynamic of mutual exchange in the relationship. For instance, imagine a scenario where she's seeking reassurance about her career decisions. Instead of simply agreeing to placate her, engage in a dialogue. Validate her feelings by acknowledging her challenges and offering constructive support or sharing insights that reflect your genuine investment in her growth. This approach strengthens her confidence while maintaining a balance of respect and attraction. A common pitfall is assuming that validation must come through constant attention or approval. Proper validation isn't about excessive praise or blind agreement, it's about recognizing her humanity, struggles, and triumphs in a way that uplifts without overwhelming. It's about creating a dynamic where both partners feel valued and respected, fostering an emotional connection that stands the test of time. In relationships, the art of validation is one of balance. Women appreciate partners who can affirm their worth and remain true to themselves. By understanding the nuances of this emotional driver, men can build more profound, meaningful connections that celebrate mutual respect, emotional growth, and lasting attraction. When offered with intention and authenticity, validation becomes not just an act of love but a foundation for a thriving relationship. Validation plays a pivotal role in building emotional connections, but when misused or given excessively, it can upset the natural balance of respect and attraction within a relationship. In healthy dynamics, validation is a tool to affirm and uplift, yet when overextended, it risks undermining a man's presence and inadvertently empowers behaviors that erode respect. This imbalance often leads to subtle but damaging shifts in how a woman perceives and interacts with her partner. For instance, when validation becomes excessive or unearned, it can create a sense of complacency. A woman may begin to take her partner for granted, interpreting his consistent affirmations as a lack of self-assurance rather than a sign of support. This often results in behaviors that signal diminished respect, canceling plans without explanation, withdrawing from meaningful conversations, or showing a lack of commitment in ways that were once foundational to the relationship. Such actions are rarely born from malice but rather from a shift in perception caused by the imbalance of emotional energy. Attraction thrives in an environment of mutual respect and equal emotional investment. A relationship where one partner consistently seeks to validate while the other passively receives creates a dynamic where admiration and respect are no longer mutual. This is not about withholding affirmation but about offering it authentically when it is truly deserved and in alignment with actions that demonstrate care and effort. When validation is given sparingly and meaningfully, it holds greater weight and fosters a dynamic where both partners feel valued and engaged. The underlying issue in these scenarios often stems from the absence of clearly defined boundaries and the unchecked desire to please. A man who consistently validates without expecting respect in return may unintentionally convey that his feelings and time are secondary. Over time, this lack of boundaries can lead to a subtle but significant shift in how he is perceived, not as a strong and dependable partner but as someone whose value is easily overlooked. Rebalancing this dynamic requires introspection and a willingness to communicate. A man must first recognize his worth and establish a standard of mutual respect within the relationship. By valuing himself, he sets the tone for how he wishes to be treated. When respect is a cornerstone of the partnership, validation becomes a tool to deepen the bond rather than a desperate plea for connection. For example, instead of constantly showering her with compliments or affirming every action, focus on moments that truly matter. Celebrate her achievements, support her in difficult times, and acknowledge her efforts in genuine and balanced ways. Simultaneously, expect the same recognition and respect for your contributions. A relationship thrives not when one partner overextends but when both feel seen, heard, and valued equally. Ultimately, the power dynamics of validation rest on the foundation of respect. When both partners approach the relationship with an understanding of their worth, they create a space where attraction and admiration grow naturally. By maintaining this balance, validation becomes a meaningful exchange that strengthens the connection rather than a force that erodes it. This respect becomes the solid foundation of any meaningful and lasting relationship. It is not merely an abstract concept but a living, breathing dynamic that dictates how two individuals treat value and respond to one another. When a woman respects a man, her actions naturally reflect her recognition of his worth, time, and efforts. This respect cannot be demanded or forced, it is cultivated through authentic behavior, mutual understanding, and consistent effort on both sides. A woman who respects a man shows it through her attentiveness to his presence and her appreciation of his contributions to the relationship. She doesn't take his efforts for granted but acknowledges them in ways that reinforce his value. For instance, she reciprocates with genuine enthusiasm and gratitude if he invests time into planning a meaningful experience. Her respect is also evident in how she prioritizes their time together, engaging deeply and meaningfully during their interactions. However, the absence of respect in a relationship can be profoundly damaging. Whether subtle or overt, disrespect erodes the foundation of connection and leads to imbalance. If a woman begins to disregard a man's contributions, belittles his opinions, or neglects his efforts, it signals a lack of respect that can quickly spiral into further disconnection. In such situations, a man must recognize the importance of his boundaries and self-respect. Continuing to validate someone who consistently undermines his value only perpetuates the cycle of disrespect. The key to restoring balance lies in withdrawing validation from a disrespectful dynamic. Ignoring behavior that diminishes your worth is not an act of revenge but a means of reclaiming your power and self-respect. By stepping back, a man demonstrates that he will not settle for anything less than a relationship built on mutual appreciation and understanding. This creates a clear boundary that, if acknowledged, can lead to a reassessment of the dynamic by both parties. Respect is also a two-way street. While a woman needs to value a man's time and efforts, it's equally vital for him to embody the qualities that command respect. Confidence, consistency, and a clear sense of purpose naturally draw admiration and reinforce the foundation of respect. When both partners engage in behaviors that nurture respect, the relationship becomes a space of balance and attraction where each person feels valued and understood. Ultimately, respect is not a luxury but a necessity in any relationship. It fosters attraction, maintains equilibrium, and ensures that individuals thrive together. A relationship rooted in respect stands the test of time, creating a stronger bond with each shared moment. By understanding the significance of respect and actively cultivating it, men and women alike can build connections that are not only fulfilling but enduring. However, in the complex dance of human relationships, respect sometimes requires space and introspection. In this context, the absence of communication can speak louder than words. When used carefully and purposefully, moments of silence or distance can evoke deep emotional responses, causing both individuals to reassess their feelings, behaviors, and priorities. This is not about manipulation or cruelty but about allowing a pause in the rhythm of interaction, creating space for growth and more profound understanding in the relationship. The human mind craves connection, and when it perceives a sudden withdrawal, it reacts instinctively. For women, who often navigate relationships through emotional intelligence and connection, ignoring can feel like a sudden void, disrupting the stability they naturally seek. This momentary pause usually forces introspection and a reassessment of her actions, as well as the overall state of the relationship. It stirs a deep emotional response, creating a sense of urgency to address the underlying issues that may have led to the emotional distance. When done with intention and fairness, pulling back can reset the balance in a relationship where respect and attraction may have faltered. For instance, if a man finds himself in a situation where his efforts are consistently overlooked or unappreciated, stepping back provides a clear message that his presence and contributions should not be taken for granted. It allows the woman to recognize his value and the importance of mutual respect in fostering a healthy partnership. This strategy is particularly effective in moments of tension or conflict. When communication becomes counterproductive or emotionally charged, stepping away temporarily can serve as a reset button. It allows both partners to reflect on their actions and emotions without the pressure of immediate confrontation. In this silence, clarity often emerges. It can enable the man to regain composure and reaffirm his boundaries. For the woman, it offers a chance to reflect on how her actions or words may have contributed to the situation. The no-contact approach, a technique where communication is paused entirely for some time, is particularly impactful in resetting the dynamics of respect and attraction. For example, In cases where a relationship has grown stagnant, or one partner feels their efforts are unreciprocated, a temporary withdrawal can reignite curiosity and a desire to reconnect. The absence of communication becomes a powerful reminder of the value of the connection that once felt so natural. However, it is crucial to approach this strategy with care and integrity. Ignoring should never be used as a tool for punishment or to exert control. Its purpose is to create space for reflection and growth, not to cause unnecessary emotional harm. It is about recalibrating the relationship and allowing both partners to understand the significance of mutual respect and appreciation. In the aftermath of such a reset, the bond often emerges stronger, built on a renewed sense of value and understanding. The emotional depth created by this temporary pause reminds both individuals of the importance of connection and the effort required to maintain it. Ignoring, when wielded thoughtfully, becomes less about silence and more about fostering a deeper, more meaningful dialogue that strengthens the foundation of the relationship. Every relationship is a delicate interplay of emotions, intentions, and power dynamics. When one partner holds an imbalance of power, often rooted in their ability to command attention, validation, or influence, it can disrupt the harmony of the relationship. In such cases, a recalibration becomes necessary, significantly when the imbalance tilts in favor of the woman, leaving the man feeling diminished or uncertain of his role. Addressing this issue does not require confrontation but instead a subtle shift in behavior. Ignoring excessive attempts at validation or dominance is one effective way for a man to regain control without creating unnecessary conflict. By choosing not to engage in patterns reinforcing the imbalance, he resets the dynamic, inviting mutual respect and a healthier foundation for communication. For instance, if she constantly seeks reassurance in ways that feel one-sided, withholding immediate validation allows space for her to reflect on her behavior and recognize the partnership's proper equilibrium. This approach is not about withdrawal or indifference but about intentional boundaries. When a man learns to navigate moments of power imbalance thoughtfully, he communicates a sense of self-assurance and stability. Instead of fueling the imbalance with overcompensation or submission, he establishes his value, signaling that respect and validation should flow both ways. Behavioral shifts of this nature require consistency and patience. It's not about ignoring her as a person or her needs but strategically disengaging from patterns that perpetuate inequality. For example, if a partner frequently tests boundaries to assert control, a calm but firm response, paired with moments of emotional detachment, can convey that he values a relationship built on partnership rather than one dictated by power struggles. This recalibration is often transformative. Women generally admire men who demonstrate self-possession and clearly understand their worth. When a man confidently redefines the dynamic, he regains his footing and encourages his partner to approach the relationship with a more balanced mindset. This shift fosters a space where both individuals can express themselves authentically without overshadowing the other. In relationships, the impression of energy and purpose often sets the stage for attraction. However, when a man falls into patterns of passive behavior, the result can be a slow but noticeable erosion of respect and connection. Passivity, characterized by a lack of initiative and overindulgence in non-productive activities, signals a disengagement from personal growth and life's challenges. A typical scenario is a man who spends most of his free time absorbed in watching TV, playing video games, or scrolling endlessly on social media. While these activities might provide temporary enjoyment or relaxation, they often lead to an unintentional detachment from more meaningful pursuits. Over time, this behavior projects an image of someone who is overly available, unmotivated, and disconnected from the drive that fuels a fulfilling life. For a woman, this passivity can quickly become unattractive, as it communicates a lack of ambition and curiosity, two qualities that are essential in maintaining emotional and romantic interest. Consider the psychological dynamics at play. A woman desires a partner who inspires her, someone who is passionate and engaged with the world around him. When a man's life revolves around passive habits, it diminishes the sense of excitement and unpredictability that often defines early attraction. Instead of being a source of inspiration, he becomes predictable and unchallenging, leaving little room for admiration or respect to flourish. This issue is compounded by the perception that passivity equals complacency. In many cases, a man who spends excessive time on trivial distractions may inadvertently message that he is unwilling to pursue growth or take responsibility for shaping his life. For example, a partner who neglects opportunities for self-improvement in favor of fleeting entertainment risks creating the impression that he lacks depth and substance. A woman may question his long-term potential and whether he can contribute to a balanced and dynamic partnership. Yet, the solution is neither drastic nor impossible. Breaking free from passivity involves small but intentional changes that signal initiative and determination. Pursuing hobbies encouraging skill development or physical activity can reinvigorate a man's sense of purpose. Whether learning a musical instrument, dedicating time to fitness, or exploring professional aspirations, these proactive steps demonstrate that he values growth and challenge. By engaging in meaningful pursuits, he improves himself and reignites the sense of admiration and excitement in the relationship. A man driven by purpose and enthusiasm transforms the dynamic of his relationship. His actions show that he is interesting, reliable, and capable of providing stability. This shift not only boosts his confidence but also rekindles the connection, as his partner sees the effort he puts into becoming the best version of himself. In an era where social media dominates daily interactions, many men inadvertently undermine their value by placing undue attention on women's posts. Liking countless photos, leaving repetitive comments, or excessively engaging with her online presence might seem like a harmless way to connect, but it often has the opposite effect. Such behavior tends to create an impression of neediness or superficiality rather than building genuine respect or attraction. When a man spends significant time reacting to every post or story, it sends a subtle but powerful message: his attention is quickly gained. This type of validation requires little effort on her part, and as a result, it holds less meaning. Over time, this approach fails to establish the kind of respect or intrigue that forms the foundation of a meaningful connection. Instead, it creates a dynamic where the man appears overly eager, diminishing the sense of value he brings to the relationship. For example, consider the scenario of a man who consistently likes every post and floods the comments section with compliments. While his intentions may be genuine, his actions can come across as overinvestment in someone who may not yet reciprocate the same level of interest. This imbalance often leads to a one-sided dynamic where the effort is not mutual, and any potential attraction fades. The reality is that attraction is rarely built through excessive online validation. Women are more likely to respect and be drawn to men who are selective with their attention and focus on creating authentic, meaningful interactions. A man who is confident and purposeful with his actions demonstrates a sense of self-worth that naturally commands respect. Instead of seeking approval through likes or comments, he prioritizes genuine communication that fosters a deeper emotional connection. Social media can serve as a tool for connection, but it should never replace real-world interactions or intentional relationship-building efforts. Rather than trying to impress someone through virtual gestures, engaging meaningfully in person or through thoughtful conversations is a more practical approach. This creates a stronger bond and conveys that his time and attention are valuable, making her feel truly appreciated when he chooses to share them. In a world where constant validation has become the norm, employing the strategy of selective attention, ignoring, can profoundly reshape the dynamics of attraction. While it may initially seem counterintuitive, withholding attention at the right moments often sets a man apart, creating a unique and intriguing allure that cannot be easily dismissed. This subtle shift in behavior invites curiosity, fostering a deeper emotional connection and making the attention you offer all the more valuable. Ignoring as a strategy is not about indifference or disrespect but redefining the balance of attention in a relationship. When a man resists the urge to affirm and validate a woman constantly, it disrupts her expectations and introduces an element of scarcity. Human nature often craves what is not freely given, and a woman's desire to earn recognition and respect from a man who does not freely dispense them can amplify her emotional investment. It's a powerful dynamic shift encourages her to value his perspective and presence more deeply. This approach plays on the psychology of desirability. Imagine a social setting where everyone's attention is directed toward one person. Among the crowd, the individual who remains calm, composed, and unhurried by the pressure to vie for attention inevitably stands out. Similarly, when a man refrains from constantly seeking validation or approval, he conveys an aura of confidence and independence that is inherently attractive. By not chasing or overwhelming a woman with constant attention, he invites her to see him as someone self-assured and worth pursuing. However, the art of ignoring requires finesse and balance. It's not about outright neglect but demonstrating that your world doesn't revolve entirely around her. For example, a man might choose to focus on his hobbies, career, or personal growth rather than immediately responding to every text or bending over backward to accommodate her every whim. This sends a message that while her presence is valued, his life has its rhythm and purpose, which she may wish to align with. The emotional impact of such a strategy is profound. When attention is no longer a given, it becomes a privilege. A woman craves the validation and respect she once took for granted. This shift often prompts her to reflect on her behavior and invest more energy into the relationship. She seeks to regain that attention, which now holds a heightened significance. Yet, it is essential to balance to avoid creating unnecessary distance or misunderstandings. Ignoring should never cross the line into neglect or emotional detachment. Instead, it should be a thoughtful approach to maintaining mutual respect and preserving the value of shared attention. The goal is not to manipulate but to foster a dynamic where both individuals feel equally invested in and inspired by the relationship. Ultimately, this strategy is about self-respect and setting healthy boundaries. By not overextending yourself or freely giving away your attention, you allow space for genuine appreciation and emotional growth. It's a subtle yet powerful way to stand out, create intrigue, and build a foundation for a deeper, more balanced connection. When practiced with care and intention, ignoring transforms the dynamics of attraction, making the attention you offer not only sought after but deeply meaningful. In relationships, attention can often be taken for granted, leading to complacency and a lack of emotional connection. The simple act of creating some distance, of momentarily withdrawing your attention, can heighten a woman's desire for respect and deeper connection. By intentionally shifting your focus and creating a sense of scarcity, you remind her of your value and re-establish your presence in her life more powerfully. When a man becomes too available, predictable, or overly attentive, the sense of intrigue and desire can fade. Women, like anyone, are drawn to mystery and challenge. When you withhold attention respectfully and measuredly, it forces her to notice your absence. This subtle shift makes her more aware of your value to the relationship and creates space for her to miss you. Attraction is fueled by desire, and the absence of something or someone you've grown accustomed to can often ignite that desire anew. This approach is not about playing games or acting indifferently for manipulation. It's about creating a dynamic where you respect yourself enough to not be at her beck and call. It's about maintaining your sense of purpose, boundaries, and personal power. When you stop being excessively available, you allow the natural rhythm of the relationship to play out. She begins to value your presence because she realizes that your attention is earned and not something that can be taken for granted. The key to this strategy lies in balance. Healthily ignoring her doesn't mean withdrawing completely or showing neglect. It means respecting her enough to give her space to reflect on your connection and allowing her to engage with you more meaningfully when she genuinely desires it. This dynamic can reignite a sense of appreciation in both of you, drawing you closer through the absence rather than pushing you apart. When you create this healthy attention scarcity, you re-establish your value in the relationship. It's a subtle but effective way of reminding her that you are not someone to be taken for granted but someone who deserves respect and admiration. Women respect men who have their own lives and passions and understand the value of their time and energy. You foster a more profound respect and emotional connection by showing that you can give attention without overindulging it. This strategy is about creating attraction through respect for yourself and the relationship. It's not about manipulating feelings or creating unnecessary drama but rather about allowing the relationship to breathe and thrive healthfully. When you respect yourself and your boundaries, it's only natural that others will begin to do the same. And as the relationship evolves, your attraction grows stronger, rooted in respect, value, and the dynamic of a truly connected partnership. As we've discussed, validation is an essential emotional driver for women, but when it becomes excessive, it can distort the balance of power in relationships. Men often weaken their position by over-giving validation, losing respect and attraction in the process. This imbalance can lead to disrespectful behaviors and a diminishing connection. However, the key to restoring that balance lies in respect. Respect is foundational for attraction, and when a man stops validating a woman who disrespects him, he takes back control. Ignoring her, whether through the no-contact strategy or simply pulling back, is a powerful emotional reset, forcing her to reconsider her actions and regain the respect she may have lost for him. It's crucial to avoid passive behaviors that weaken attraction, such as excessive time spent on social media or overindulging in easy validation. Instead, setting boundaries and creating a sense of scarcity with your attention can make a woman crave your respect and desire your presence more deeply. Relationships are about balance. When a man asserts his value through respect and emotional boundaries, the dynamic shifts in his favor. I'd love to hear your thoughts and personal experiences with these strategies. Feel free to share in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights and tips on building strong, respectful relationships.